This is dispersed camping in Alaska. We have a glacier up there. We have a river being fed by the glacier. We have mountains with snow on them at the end of April. We have a couple golden retrievers that are having the time of their life. A lot of other people enjoying the day. Somewhere way over there is our truck camper.
Hey, welcome back to the channel. On this episode, we are going to take you with us on our first outing of 2024 in the $500 truck camper. And stick around till the end because I'm going to take you inside and show you the things that we've been working on since last year that include a new power inverter, this refrigerator, and a few other goodies, including a Mr. Jones afterburner to control the diesel heater. So let's jump right in and see you here soon.
Well, good morning from base camp here in the Knik River Basin, Palmer, Alaska. We just completed our first overnight of 2024 in the truck camper. Got it out of storage mode in the garage where I'd been doing some work on it and loaded it on the truck and said, hey, let's just get out of town a little bit and go camping. Like the commercial says, go RVing. So this is a really unique place. When you guys see me taking the Humvee off-road up the Jim Creek Trail and up to the glacier, we kind of ride up over on that side of the river, work our way up. Up on the far side up here is the actual glacier. So this place here will flood off and on with the flow of ice and rain and stuff. And right now the actual river is pretty far off and pretty mild. That's the way it is most of the time. This area here is dispersed camping. There's no fees. There's no camp host or camp ranger. Just the open area. And we have a variety of different type of campers out here. That's the Knik River Road over here. And that'll take you out to basically the end of that road where there's an amazing restaurant, a helicopter pad, give you rides out to the glacier if you want to do that sort of thing. Lots of people enjoying this time with their dogs. Super happy with the modifications we made to the truck camper. Truck camper's been working out great. Again, first time out since last year. We made a lot of changes to the camper. I'm going to take you inside and show you some of the things we did and how they worked out. But on the outside, I just want to show you right off the bat the big change. Those of you that follow my channel, you know that we installed a new Dometic refrigerator in here this last year, at the end of last year, and this is our first time having it in action, and it has been fabulous. The other huge modification was adding the Mr. Jones afterburner to the diesel heater. We have had true thermostatic control of this thing all night. Absolutely amazing. I've also added a Magnum power inverter. We'll talk a little bit about that when we get inside, but made a lot of good modifications to this. It's going to make this camping season way better for 2024. I can't wait to take you guys along with us. We've got some trips planned to some really great places. But anyway, we'll go inside. I'll show you the things that we've done in there. So you can't go camping without breakfast, and you can't have breakfast without some hearty bacon and eggs and all the fixins. And you can't have all the fixins without somebody here to monitor and make sure that you're enjoying your breakfast. I think breakfast is the best part of camping. And what a beautiful spot to be having breakfast. All right, buddy. Well, he's going to make sure, he's going to supervise, make sure that I enjoy this. And we're going to enjoy this, right?
Yes.
Yep. And there's our Dometic refrigerator. It is
amazing.
How's it working?
It's so good. I love it.
Yep.
Everything's cold.
So we went from the coldest setting, which is 5, down to the middle setting to 3. It's currently running on propane. We did not bring any ice cream. That was going to be like the ultimate test. We didn't do that. It's been running. We're sitting here. We're making 13.3. We're actually making 72 volts right now. And it's feeding the batteries on a bulk charge at 13.3. Diesel heater is dieseling. Our Mr. Jones afterburner. Amazing. So anyway, we're going to enjoy some breakfast here. Get this day going. Probably head back to the house here after a bit and put all this away until the next one, right?
Well, if you're new to my channel, welcome. And if you've been around for a while, welcome back. So those of you that have been watching this transformation of this truck camper over the last year know that we really did some things. I mean, I probably should have been paid by the guy I got it from versus me giving him 500 bucks, but I gave $500 for this 1970 Mansfield truck camper. And last year, we brought it home and started a complete teardown to the bare bones and back together. It has been performing pretty well, but at the end of the season, we realized there were a couple of things that were really, really necessary to make this work the way that we wanted to. Number one, this used to have an ice box in it. Pretty common, and they still do that with campers today. But that ice box was problematic, and within a fairly short period of time, it would thaw out. We had a very tough time keeping meat and things in here at a good temperature, forcing us to have to replenish the ice, or we bought some really, really expensive ice packs. They just didn't work super, super well. So go back in my videos, I'll put a link below, but I did install this Dometic 3-way refrigerator. This was our first trip to use it, and it is working really, really well. It'll obviously work on AC, DC, or propane. I've got it running on propane. That also required doing an awful lot of reworking of my propane valve and regulator system over here. I'm really happy I did because the way I started out with wasn't that great. So that's in good shape and working. So another issue we had with the camper was this electric system. So we're using a WFCO. It's a converter, turns AC to DC, and a fuse panel for both AC and DC fuses. It supplies through a 40 amp fuse, a DC 12 volt charge throughout the system. You technically don't even need a battery. You just plug it in the wall. It turns it into 12 volt. You can have lights and things on board. This was a brand new unit that I bought last year. It installed in here very, very nice. So we have all the modern conveniences of what brand new campers have. So it turns out the bad part about this is that it doesn't properly exercise your batteries. So the other issue of my electrical system is I put a pair of 6 volt large capacity AGM Rolls batteries in here. So those AGM batteries, in order to really get the right life out of them, that voltage has to ramp up and down. It has to do certain things, has to be held at certain voltages to get them to last a good long time. Unfortunately, these don't do that. And I've been told that if you just plug your camper in with one of these converter chargers in here, that you'll kill your battery from the way they operate. That's been a dilemma that's been in my mind since last year. And the other aspect with that is that we didn't have any AC conversion, DC to AC on board. So we've resolved our electrical issues on multiple fronts by installing a Magnum 1000 watt pure sine mobile style inverter charger in here. So I'll take you in here and we'll take a look at that as well. Total game changer, but it required some other thinking with the electrics. And finally, probably one of the bigger things to me that's made a colossal difference in this camper was installing the afterburner controller from Mr. Jones. He's down in Australia and he's figured out the right way to control these Chinese diesel heaters. So here's the dilemma with them. The problem that I had with it, it's the same problem everybody has. The thermostat doesn't really control it like your home. So what happens is when they reach temperature, it will slow down the pulse rate of the pump. It'll slow down the fan, some other things, but the diesel heater never actually will shut down. As a result of that, last year, I'm laying there in bed and all throughout the night, you wake up and you're sweating. The good news is it has a remote, so you can just point that at it and cycle it off. But it's frustrating because then you wake up freezing and you go up, okay, and cycle it back on. And your most basic campers with propane units in them will operate like your home on a regular thermostat. So enter Mr. Jones and enter the afterburner. His unit works. And in our first outing, it was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Let me go in here and show you some of these things. Come on, let's head in. Let me show you the Magnum Energy inverter first. This is a Magnum MMS 1012. It's a 1,000 watt pure sine. This is designed to act as a charger and an inverter. Now, something that's kind of neat is back at my old house, I was running my workshop off grid using a much larger Magnum inverter, but the same controller. So these have been around a while and they still operate, they still work. This unit, in order to make it go, I added a 150 amp DC breaker. Allows me to shut things down and take care of business whenever we don't want this thing functioning. Another thing I did, and this is maybe a little controversial, you see that PVC pipe over there? So in reading the instructions with these Rolls batteries, it indicates that you still need to provide a vent, that they actually still vent. They will vent under heavy charging. There's like a little porous valve or something in them. The gases that come out of there are bad news. You don't want those in the cabin with you. And when these things are doing their bulk absorbed charging, they're going through a lot of volts, a lot of amps flowing through here out of the solar system and even through the Magnum charger. So I had lead acid batteries before that you definitely vent if they're in with you on my old solar system. And it was a 24 volt. So fast forward, turns out that you can change the fan out inside of this housing from a 24 volt to a 12 volt, which I did. And I went ahead and set this up with a port on the outside. We have ventilation here to pull through and push out. This contraption here has like a little valving system in it that prevents air blowing back, and it pulls it all out when the fan comes on. And then you just use your Midnight Solar controller. You have parameters within your auxiliary settings to turn on a relay when you get into voltage situations that could be causing off-gassing moments. So it's probably overkill, probably not necessary. I talked to people that said with these AGM batteries, there's no need to do this. However, I feel a lot safer when this thing is, putting out 80 volts coming in the top and everything's cranking and turning down to 12. That thing is pushing any vapors out while it's sitting here, especially if we leave the dogs in the camper or something, while we're out doing something, that's going to keep venting in case those batteries start off gassing. So what does this Magnum bring to the table? It brings a lot to the table. It is a very powerful unit. This is a mobile unit. It's designed to take abuse. It's sealed up. If it were to, get a little bit of moisture and stuff on it, it's going to handle it. Really rugged unit, super heavy, really simple to hook up. Basically, it has a battery temperature probe, and then it has the connector that goes to the controller. The controller gives us options to do some settings, and really happy with this. So now, when we are 100% boondocking, we have AC voltage. I don't even have to turn it on. Honestly, this last time out, we didn't even turn it on because everything we do is DC or propane in here or diesel. But I have it if I want it. But again, the main reason that I put this in here, the actual main reason I put it in, is so that when we are plugged in to a landline plug, we have the batteries being properly maintained for being the type of batteries that they are, and allowing them to be exercised and then held at the right voltages so that nothing bad happens to the batteries long term. In order to do that, I had to come down here and bypass the charging unit within this unit. So it was pretty simple. Basically, I took the power plug that comes from the outside. It runs all the way past here now up to the Magnum. From the Magnum, it comes back and it goes into here just like the original power plug did. And then we simply just disconnected the wiring going to the converter inside this. So this fan and the converter no longer functions in this. It just acts as a fuse panel distribution block and allows me to shut down by breakers for AC, and it allows me to control with my DC breakers in case anything is amiss. We kept everything otherwise pretty clean, and that takes care of business. So I know that's a long explanation, but we're super happy with that. This electrical system is proper, and it has proper breakers, shutdowns, etc. We can turn this whole thing off like that. Right, so the other big item here with the refrigerator, this Dometic, this was our first run, bouncing down the road, cooling it down before we left. We kicked it over to run off propane. It worked great. I had concerns about the venting for the cooling system in the back. It did its job. We went down a riverbed, we bounced, we shook. We took a really rough ride, basically off-roading to the spot we wanted to be. Everything worked great. In fact, I had it started out on the coldest setting and it was too cold. We had to back it off. So this thing really, really works. Super happy. It wasn't cheap, but what an incredible improvement this has made to this camper. And last but not least, the afterburner for Mr. Jones. So there's a couple things I would probably do different if I could. If I knew I was going to get this from day one, I probably would have wired some things differently in terms of where my control head and thermostat would be to make it all go. But this is where it ended up because I installed all of this before I knew that this even existed. So that is the temperature probe that it uses to turn itself on and off. And then here's our controller right here. It came with like 100 pages of instructions. It was confusing to me, I will admit that, to figure out how to get it in the mode where it acts like a true thermostat. One important thing, if you have one of these diesel heater setups and you get the afterburner for Mr. Jones, you will have to keep your original control head. He does provide you with this junction block here that you'll plug in and do a download. Essentially, you'll pull the data out of the settings from your original control head and push them in here, and then this thing is functioning. This is total game changer. And as a bonus, let me just show you, we changed the way the toilet was. In the beginning, it was turned around in the other direction, and we really struggled to get it strapped in quickly and to get it to function. I ultimately put a base underneath it, lets your toes kind of go underneath there, and I've got a permanent strap that can be pulled over and snapped once you hit the road. That has been great. It just puts this thing in a so much better position to get in, out, function, take it out, service it. Super happy with that. Well, that's the short list of things that we've done since I last saw you in this truck camper in 2023. A couple other things going on. The GMC Sierra down below me right now, it's gone through some major surgery. The entire rear differential is now rebuilt. We've got a new Positrack unit in it. A True Lock system was having a lot of issues out of that. Differential was actually locking up. I replaced the front differential as well, partly out of maintenance, and also we've been chasing some noises in the drivetrain. I didn't make any videos about those, but believe me, that costs plenty of money. But considering the cost of a new truck, it was still a reasonable spend. All right, well listen, I'm gonna send you guys back out to the Knik River bed, and we're gonna wrap this video up. Looking forward to some great adventures in 2024. All right, we're gonna put the wraps on this trip. This was just a quickie, last minute. Let's throw stuff in the truck camper and go try it out. We're gonna go ahead and put this thing in 4-wheel drive, work our way out of here. The big benefit of having a truck camper, being able to come to places like this and boondock. We have a couple of really cool trips planned for this summer. We're gonna bring you along with us, see how all this works out in our $500 truck camper.
See you next time.